jump into our AM Minnesota program, and we're visiting with Kym Anderson from the Faribault Area Chamber, and possibly a member of the Futures class going to pop by as well. What's coming up? Oh, Heritage Days. That's tomorrow. Jerry will be sitting in for me because I'll be doing the softball, state softballs, and Rhoda Mazeppa opens up tomorrow. It'd be kind of hard to get AM Minnesota ending at 10 and be set up and have lineups ready and everything by 11, actually 10:45.
That would be a little quick.
It would be just a little bit on the quick side. So Jerry was nice enough to say, yeah, I'll do the show. They're talking about Heritage Days tomorrow, and then at least I should double check with Tammy Schluter, because we had originally, as far as I know, scheduled the program for this Friday to talk about the second Tilt-A-Whirl dedication.
Yeah.
But I understand they're moving that back a week or so.
Oh, I'm not aware of that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second Tilt-A-Whirl car is going on the corner of the State Bank of Faribault.
Right, yeah. I knew that was happening, but I wasn't sure at all about the dates.
Yeah, well, they were going to dedicate it during Heritage Days. Then they decided they wanted to have the car in the parade.
Oh, okay.
So now they're going to
Well, that'll be good PR for the car itself to be in the parade. Lots of people would see it that way.
Right. So I think they're going to do the dedication the week after. We'll get the details. Hopefully they'll come on Friday. So how are things going, Kym?
Hey, everything's going great. It's a Chamber of Commerce kind of day outside today with sunny and blue skies. It's fabulous.
Fantastic.
We've got a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of great things to talk about. One thing I'll mention really quick, if we have a minute or two, is we've been working with the Minnesota State Academy for the Deaf and Jamie Duncan from Deaf Friendly Business on the idea of helping businesses be more deaf friendly. So some students have been going to businesses and helping them understand more how to interact with a deaf customer, client, or possible deaf employee as well. And we're hosting a lunch and learn type event at the end of June so that businesses can come in and just get some simple tools that they can have in their store or their business, and some simple, very free training really, so that they can be more attentive and more friendly and do a better job of serving their deaf customers, clients, and potential employees. So that event is taking place on June 27th, and there's a lot of information that will be shared that day about free sign language videos and basic greetings and posters for your business that can help you communicate more effectively and in a more friendly manner with deaf people.
I would think that they'd be pretty good at it by now, though. I mean, the MSAD's been here for 150 years.
Well, of course, but those businesses that are in tune to that and have been around a long time probably are. But there's lots of new businesses and new people all the time in those businesses, so it's an ongoing effort, and it bears the attention that we're paying to it right now. And we're so excited to be working with the students themselves. The students now, of course, they're home for the summer, but earlier in the spring and then again this fall, they're actually making visits to the businesses and then kind of giving them an assessment of how deaf friendly they really are.
Oh, sounds interesting.
It's great.
Now, before we go to the market update, it'd be a good time to plug too, Faribault Municipal Airport's being renamed.
Oh my goodness, what a wonderful thing,
Elizabeth Wall Strophus Field. I think I got that right.
Right.
I wish they would have done it when she was with us, but hey, that's the way it goes. But that's June 24th, and that's going to be a great day.
I know, and it's so deserved, and what a wonderful woman and life that woman led, and it's so fitting that our community honors her this way. I'm really pleased and so grateful for the AAUW for their effort to make that happen, and to the Faribault City Council and the Airport Board and everyone else who was involved to make sure that went through without a hitch.
Yeah, that was not automatic. I mean, the FAA isn't big on that.
Right, yeah, they had to go through the appropriate hoops, but they did, and it's going to be you're right, the celebration will be great, but in the long, long term, to be able to honor that, that's wonderful.
Yeah, well, you had a couple of congressional medals, right?
You're probably more familiar with her whole resume than I am, but I know there are many in the community that know her and remember her fondly and would really want to be part of celebrating the renaming.
Never thought I'd say this, but I miss her pecks on my cheek.
Aww.
Every time I'd see her, she, I'd bend over, she'd give me a little peck on the cheek. NorthlandBuildings.com. Ag Power Enterprises, your John Deere dealer in Owatonna, Hollandale, Belle Plaine, also Osage, Northwood, Iowa, and Gypsoil brand gypsum. Applied gypsum after the first cutting of alfalfa. Ohio State University saw a yield increase of 18%. Contact Abe at Performance Seed and Insurance in Medford. AM Minnesota today, of course, we always enjoy visiting with Kymn Anderson. She's the president of the Faribault Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. I always forget to say tourism for whatever reason.
Yeah, we don't want to forget that. That's an important part of what we do,
It most certainly is. And
this
Kristen
time of year.
Twitchell is going to join us this morning too, because you want to tell everybody why Kristen's here?
Well, Kristen is a member of our current Faribault's Future Leadership class, and your audience is familiar with her because she's also the director of the Paradise Center for the Arts, and I'm sure that you're always here talking about the great things going on at the Paradise.
Yes, but it's fun to be here for something else.
You're here for something else today, so that's great, and we're glad to have you. We want to talk a little bit about our Faribault's Future Leadership program. Gordy, this is our 20th year of offering this leadership program, and it began, it's a story that's been told over and over, but it began with people who had been in other communities, and in those communities they had received some sort of leadership development in the community about the community, and they noticed there wasn't a program like that here, so they put it together, and for a year or two it was a separate organization, and then it became, they brought it under the umbrella of the chamber just a couple years in, and we have now graduated 305 people from the program, and we'll have an additional 17 or 18 that'll commence the program tomorrow, and the program is a 10-month program from September to June, and one full day a month. Members of the class examine the community's health. They look at things like is the community a healthy place economically? Does it have lifelong education opportunities for people? Does it have good spiritual and recreational and cultural activities for people? It really runs the gamut of all of that, and then a big part of it too is helping people see their role, their personal leadership role in the community. So Kristen has been part of the class this year, and she's unique in it because she's been through other programs like that as well. Oh, cool. And so has a great opportunity to share your opinion or your experience about what you've gone through.
Yeah, that's been one of the things I've really discovered over the years, is there's never too much continuing education, and that you can always learn something. And being new to Faribault and new to the Paradise, I thought that would be a great opportunity to find out more about the community and meet some other folks from the community. So one of the things I've appreciated though is their willingness to take feedback, and because I've been on the other side, I've actually been on the curriculum and development side of programs like this, so it was interesting to be a participant again.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
So we use the Blandon community leadership model of the 8 elements of a healthy community, and using that model gives us a structure to look at the community and assess at the beginning of the year, what do the members of the class think about how the community is doing in all of these elements? And then throughout the year, they get a chance to learn more about what the community is doing in those areas, what opportunities there are for involvement, what some of the companies and programs are in the community. And then at the end of the class, at tomorrow's class, they take another look at their first opinion and really track then what they have learned and what they now believe to be the health of the community in those areas.
And then they do a project, right? Don't they do a project?
They do. You want to speak a bit about the project? It was a bit of a challenge this year. It
Yes.
always is, really.
Yes, this year we did a color dash with the funds going to Habitat. They are building a new house in Faribault this spring. So that was, there were a lot of challenges. They had staffing changes. We got a little bit of late start because of, the heartbreaking loss of Barb. And then we had probably the coldest, rainiest day you could have for a race. So, but I think our classmates really did learn what it takes to put on an event like that.
And maybe decided to do an indoor activity next
Well, we were talking about that while we were standing under the tent with our jackets and mittens on in May.
Cool.
But I said, had we picked an indoor event, it would have been 75 and sunny outside.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
But the idea of the project, although the end result is important, part of the value of the project is for people to have the experience of working together in community. A lot of times when people work on something, there's a requirement. I mean, it might be a project at work, and so you're working with people in a team, and you maybe have strong management involved in it, or it's just a different dynamic when you're all volunteers and you're all trying to lead, and everybody's got opinions, and so the dynamic of it is what we hope would be the learning experience, because really this is how everything happens in community, whether it's Heritage Days or the naming of the Liz Strofus Field or whatever it might be. There's countless examples of people in the community coming together trying to get something done, and the microcosm of doing the project is the learning experience of it.
Right. I read a quote somewhere, I can't remember who it was, said, in order to be a good leader, you must be a good follower. Good leaders have to be willing to follow.
I think that's right, and that was probably one of the experiences for me, because I am used to being in leadership, taking charge, and to kind of sit back and let other folks take, particularly in the project, kind of take the role that they had taken and not feel like I had to be the person spearheading the whole thing, which is what I'm used to doing, is having to be that person.
Of course you are. Well, one of the things too that we feel like can be even improved in the program is to help people understand their own personal strengths. So early in the year, the members of the class take a personal assessment called Strengths Finder, and they then learn from their own assessment what rises to the top as their primary strengths. And if we use people's strengths, they will be more successful. If we put them in a role that allows them to use the things that they naturally are good at and want to do, because we all want to do the things that we naturally are good at, it makes it more certain that they'll be successful. And they still require, some direction or guidance or, rules or parameters, but the experience that they have puts them in a place that makes them more likely to be successful. So we want to promote the idea of Strengths Finder. And, the folks that are listening today might be thinking, well, who's in this program? And what we have found is that, like Kristen, people that have tremendous leadership experience and leadership education, and she, as an educator herself in leadership, still benefits from the program because she's new to Faribault. There are young people, really young people, who just want to kind of figure out their role in their company maybe, or in their community. There are people who want to do a better job as a Boy Scout leader, or in their church, or in another organization that they're part of. But all ages, because some are new to the community, some are new to leadership, and either way there's benefits. And we are taking registrations now for the class that begins in September.
So would you recommend it?
Absolutely. One of the things I was thinking about was both the gifts. I've done, Strength Finders a couple different times, and some of the other ones, Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, but I think for my classmates, it was really, for folks who hadn't done it, really helpful, but then also in that project setting or in other places, to remember that part of working to your strengths and supporting community is those moments where you have to step back and let other people work to their strengths, and that's a lot of what leadership development is. I think there's a great kind of similar quote about the differences between a boss and a leader. And leaders equip people to go out and do their very best, as opposed to bosses just tell people what they want done.
Right. So one of the other benefits of being part of the program is some of the businesses that you get a chance to tour. because of the reputation of the program and its connection to the chamber, I believe businesses are very gracious and very generous in opening their doors to us and allowing us to spend time within their companies to learn about things that we have. So, for example, we spend a day at District 1 Hospital, and the members of the class get a chance to really see kind of behind the scenes some of the things that go on there and how that is such an important asset to our community. Kristen, what other tours, really stand out for you?
I think going to the correctional facility was just really eye-opening, but also powerful, because you can really put blinders on and just, some people work there but not really remember that there are people there and they made huge mistakes, but there are families. And seeing that, I think the visitor center, and especially the place for children inside the visitor center, that really reminded me of, some of them are families with lives, and those are lives are forever impacted. So to keep that in mind, and also that it's a little city or a quite big city within a city.
Quite a big city within our community, right?
Yeah.
And just I think I was impressed with, as a educator, the education focus there, and what they've found is education's impact on, I can never say the word, recidivism. And then I enjoy, I'm trying to think, I really liked when we started, we were out at Riverbend.
Right, that's
just did some community building, team building exercises. Again, stuff I have done, and I was probably, are we doing this? I think I drove them crazy because I kept trying to guess what we were doing, and I got them all wrong. But it was, I think that, and then when we did the walking, visiting, kind of almost like a scavenger hunt of Faribault, where we had to go and find different businesses and organizations. That really helped me get to know the community better. So those are just some of the highlights.
Yeah, the members of the class also, they have an opportunity to tour the correctional facility, which is our largest employer in the community, and then our second largest employer is Jenny-O Turkey Store. That's a difficult tour because they don't allow too many tours. As a food industry, it's very, very rare that they open their doors to a community tour, but because of Faribault's future, and so many members of the Jenny-O employment have been through the program, that they really give us that rare opportunity to get a tour of that facility as well.
Yeah, last year when the state legislative committee was down touring the facility, they wouldn't even let the media go on the tour with them.
Right, yeah. And tomorrow, as I mentioned, is the last day of the class, and the final tour that the class members will have. Well, there's actually two as part of the day. One is the law enforcement, or the police department actually, and another is the Faribault Woolen Mill. And even folks that have lived here their entire life will admit, they never took the tour. They maybe went to the mill and purchased things, but they didn't actually take the tour. So we are really pleased that we have this program going now for 20 years and have a lot to offer in the program. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, is our commencement, and we like to talk about commencement. This is the time of year for that, right? Well, the word commence means begin. It doesn't mean end.
Right.
So it's the end of their experience in the program as a class member, but it's the beginning of their opportunity to take what they've learned in the program and become stronger community leaders, stronger leaders, maybe run for office, maybe dedicate themselves to some great cause in the community. So we're really pleased about the program.
And you've seen many of your graduates actually become leaders in the community, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of hard to say become leaders because a lot of them already are.
That's true.
I mean, many of the members of the class, I think I can name them all here today. I have it with me. These are people that are community leaders already. Kristen being one of them, and others. And so what they do is it's the continuing education. It's the fine tuning. It's the concentration of developing that community and personal leadership that we all need, whether we're actively involved every day in community leadership or doing something else. But I'd like to just quickly mention the members of the class. We have Marcus Adamic from Mercury, Minnesota, Yusef Ahmed from Jenny-O Turkey Store, Denny Buendorf from the city of Faribault, George Chappell from South Central College, Lisa Connors from the Minnesota Correctional Facility, Bethany Danner from Patton, Hoverson and Berg, Erin Ferris from District 1 Hospital, Amy Kramer from the Chamber, although she has recently moved on to a different employment. She will complete the class as a representative of the Chamber. Lisa Moon from First United Bank, Chris Nelson from Reliance Bank, Clayton Nicholson from Revolution Fitness, Brian Nesbitt from Jenny-O Turkey Store, Walter Opsel from the Correctional Facility, Sam Oak, Faribault Public Schools, Katie Roth, Minnesota State Academies, Jane Tuma, State Bank of Faribault, and Kristen Twitchell from the Paradise Center for the Arts.
Wow.
It's a great group. And we do limit the class to 20, and we are, as I mentioned, taking applications for next year's class. I would like to mention that there is a new scholarship available. We have always offered a partial scholarship for small businesses and a partial scholarship for a nonprofit organization in the community. But Mayo Clinic Health Systems stepped forward and offered a tremendous opportunity in memory of Barb Larson. There will be a full tuition scholarship available every year for the next 5 years, sponsored by Mayo Clinic Health Systems. And the application is very simple, and we just ask people to tell us how they possess the strengths that Barb showed in her Strength Finder analysis. Her top strengths were empathy, achiever, positivity, responsibility, and relator. So it doesn't take long to recall her great personality and think about the way she reached out to people and was so positive and was so quick to be able to make friendships and good relationships. So we're looking to find people like that would like to apply for and have the scholarship to be able to enjoy the benefits of the class thanks to the Mayo Clinic Health Systems.
Well, that's awesome.
It is awesome.
Speaking of awesome, you're going to be doing some milking this weekend, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, no. Yes. Thank you for giving me a chance to remember to talk about that. Kristen, what are you doing on Saturday? We've got stuff going on.
Sorry, I will be up north, as we say in Minnesota.
Going up north. It's June Dairy Month, right?
Yeah.
And so Saturday is Dairy Day on the farm. And there are a lot of organizations. Gordy, you're going to be better equipped to be able to tell more about that. But it's at the Ernst Farm near Shieldsville, near the St. Patrick's Church. The address is available in a lot of places, including the Chamber's website.
And our website.
And here's Jerry with all the details.
Handing you all the details.
So it's 7685 Dodd Road. And that's right out by the St. Patrick's Church in Shieldsville. And it's hosted by Duke, Mary Lou, and Andy Ernst on their farm on this coming Saturday, June 10th. And it is Dairy Day. And so there'll be lots of activities. The Chamber's Ag Committee got involved in it this year to assist. And we are going to be taking out all kinds of books that we have, thanks to a grant from Cargill. These are wonderful books about farming, about the land, about dairy and bees and soybeans and how does this food end up in my plate, and all kinds of things that kids really don't understand that, and they're fun, wonderful, beautiful kids books. So I'm encouraging families to come on out. We've got a lot of kids games. We have students from Faribault High School coming out to help with some face painting and other kids games to make it a little extra fun. There's free cheeseburgers, free malts, free milk. There'll be, of course, a live KDHL broadcast there. They are telling people, though, please park at the Rice County Fairgrounds and use the shuttle back and forth to the farm, because there is very, very little, if no parking, really, at the farm site. The parking will be taken up by those that need to get there early for setting up and doing the volunteering. So go out to the fairgrounds, jump on the bus, and have a great day with family and friends at the Ernst Farm near Shieldsville, Saturday from 11 to 2.
Can't go wrong with free food.
That is true.
Free food, gorgeous day. I mean, this is like the week to, box
Get
up
outside
and save, because it's just been gorgeous, gorgeous weather, and it's going to be a great day out at the farm.
Yeah, I think so too.
I want to thank all those volunteers who are making that happen. The transportation is being funded by the Rice County corn and soybean growers, and I'm sure there are many volunteers involved. But how can you go wrong with free cheeseburgers and malts, right?
I don't think you can go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
Gear people up for the state fair.
Hey, you know what? As long as I have a minute, there's another thing coming up. There's always more coming up, right? So our young professionals group, the Chamber's Y-Pro Club, has an event coming up. I believe it's next week. It could be the following week. So if it sounds interesting, check us out on the website or give us a call at the Chamber. But this is a city tour. So it's a Y-Pro tour, and folks are going to get on the bus, and there's going to be beer and brats and burgers and fun stuff on the bus while you get a tour of the city. And you know, maybe you're going, what? A tour of the city? But just like all of us, we all go where we go, right? We go where we know, and we go where we have to go. So this tour is going to take people to places in the community they maybe are not familiar with, and widen your knowledge about what's going on in Faribault.
When I first moved to town, I don't know who sponsored the tour necessarily, but they took me on a tour. I went to a lot of places, Shattuck, the Woolman Mill,
sure, yeah,
some other places. It was really a neat tour.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, that's a while ago, Gordy.
I know.
You could join us at this Y-Pro tour if you want to jump on the bus.
I'm not a Y-Pro.
You know what? They don't card anybody. I mean, they actually do it. You know, as far as like you have to be 21, but yeah, they don't card on the other end of the spectrum. They welcome everybody. I believe it's a week. Let's see. Today is Wednesday, so 2 weeks from tomorrow, and you know, just check us out at the Chamber on that Y-Pro event. It's always something new, something fun.
It might be interesting, actually, to
yeah,
do a story on it or something.
I'd love to have you. We'd love to have you join the group.
We'll see if that works out.
So I just want to remind people too, you know, if you are intrigued at all about what you heard today about Faribault's Future Leadership Program, I want to remind you that the Chamber membership is not a requirement of participation. Anybody who's interested can inquire and look into the details of it, and we'd love to answer any questions that people have about the program. Kristen, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yep. We've about run out of time. Tomorrow we're going to talk Heritage Days. Jerry's going to be hosting the show. I'll be getting prepped for the big softball broadcast here on KDHL Zumbrota Mazeppa, trying to repeat as state champs in Class 2A. That concludes today's edition of AM Minnesota on KDHL AM in Faribault, Minnesota. As Kim said, get out and enjoy this beautiful day.